are we big enough to matter to these guys?
Yes, is
We
the
are.
answer. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. As I said, data is crime is the monetization of information security now. Whether it be the perception that maybe a bank here is easier to exploit than with somewhere else, this is a perception issue, not a reality. Definitely, yeah, definitely.
And if I could just add, right, I think the hackers or the perpetrators do not identify you by nationality. They just want to make money. Or in the case of maybe if you have been reading about the US election, it could be something national, right? Andrew alluded to the bank incident to Bangladesh and then over here, but they will find the weakest spot to come in. Whether you're a bank, whether you're government agencies, and they have all the objectives lined up. Take the money, political, sometimes they do it for fun, right? And yeah, there are many reasons all this.
So there may be, from an experience perspective, because I've been coming here for 12, 14 years, say even maybe 5 years ago, businesses, information security, even with the IT organisation, relatively low profile, not a lot of money being budgeted towards protecting information within the company. In probably, I'd say, the last 6 to 12 months, you can see a really high raising of the profile of whether it be a chief risk officer, or a chief information security officer. In some cases, not actually reporting within the IT organisation, reporting directly to members of the board of management. So I'm saying here, that's a leading indicator to me that there is relevance within this market for that, or information security and risk and threat overall.
Yeah, if I may add as well, because recently, I think like last year, you've heard about the WannaCry threat, right? And it hit local companies, and we actually received information from some of these companies asking us to help them, resolve these kinds of issues. And one other thing, he was alluding to the banks, both of our friends were alluding to banks, just DDoS, right? Distributed denial of service. You see, there was at one point, one of the major banks down, the service was down, you couldn't even try to withdraw money, right? So, in effect, that's why it's global, but it's also very relevant to us here in the country. This happens, and the thing about it is, again, alluding to the people. Most companies now are looking for CISOs. Before it was like they'd have a network manager, they'd have a application manager, but they're not the right people, I guess, to understand what kind of security threats. And so now there are a lot of companies that are hiring, getting people who understand threats and making them CISOs. So that's why it's relevant to us to be able to address this market in the country.
Just one final follow-up. In terms of responding to the threat, where is the Philippines in the overall scheme of things versus our peers in the region, perhaps?
Again, I don't think you can rank it country by country. It'd be, to me personally, individual business to individual business. Obviously not. There's companies here today, as I said, there's a CISO that works within Manila. I think is probably the best CISO I've ever met in my history of working. And he's a local Filipino. It's not, he doesn't come from anywhere else. But then probably, to be honest, there are other companies I met here where what we're talking about, they're not quite there yet. And again, I'll stress to you, that's not local to the Philippines or being disrespectful to this market. It's the same across the board, all companies. So you can't really say, is the Philippines better than Singapore or, I think it's more a company by company. But then it's also, as I said before, and we all agree on this, it's more than what's the government doing, the regulatory environment they're trying to create. And what we're saying that they are, the attempts to get more regulation, more compliance is a great step. But at the end of the day, that needs people within the industry, the organisations involved in that to become definitely contributing and trying to develop better standards. But it's a great effort to kick those things off.
or
There's a question there.